building committee meetings to order. So just a couple of things. First of all, I want to welcome our new member. I want to make sure I got it right. Is it Anthony or just Tony? Tony DeMello. He is from the planning board. He has a lot of experience in project management, so he'll be a good person to have on board with us. So I'm really happy to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that means Kevin is not here. Kevin is gone and Tony's on, so everything works out well. Just to back up here a little bit, I know this is a painstakingly slow process, but the thing is that at the end of this, this will actually save us money. So when we go for our architectural design, we won't have to go through all of this again. We'll just give them all of our minutes with the feasibility study, and they'll be able to bring everything, read everything and go over everything. Not that they're gonna do it on their own, they'll still need us, but we won't have to go over this with them, so it's actually saving us money in the long run. I know that Jack brought up a couple of weeks ago having one of the businesses in town pay for all of this, but we haven't gotten any money from them, and I think they just broke ground. They just broke ground, so I don't foresee them paying for a large part of this. I think that what the game plan has been lately is that we've started a capital stabilization at town meeting, and we've put a lot of money into capital stabilization, so if we have to take out money for architectural designs or things like that, that's already there. But I don't see a company coming in and giving us a $10 million check to pay for whatever buildings we're gonna do. So this possibly will be a debt exclusion, so I just want everybody to keep that in mind. All right, so we left off the last time with COA, so we'll pick up right there.
Okay, I figured out our wish list, and I brought it forth to the director, and she's in agreement. Minimum that we would need is 13,000 square feet. If by chance, you want to anticipate the growth coming ahead. The figures I have here come up to 11,701 square feet.
What is it?
11,701
Okay.
anticipated square feet. It could be higher, could be lower in some instances. We would like a reception area, director's office, a lock-in storage closet, because we have a lot of information that has to be kept under lock and key. And that would be Jack and Jill, the senior clerk's office would be on one side, that's what we would like, and the director's office would be on the other, so they could both have access to this. Senior clerk's office, we would like 3 spare offices. Due to the fact that we have like Shine counselor that comes in, we're looking for another part-time employee. And we have the tax people that come in, and anyone else that might need the office. The reception area, we're talking about 186 square feet. Director's office, possibly 256. The lock-in storage closet, 320 square feet. Senior clerk's office, 196 square feet, as well as the 3 spare offices, all of 196 square feet. We want a bathroom for the employees only at 144 square feet. Bathroom in the reception area, which would be public and unisex, for 144 square feet. And 2 extra bathrooms. At this time, I don't know where they would be placed at 144 square feet. A computer room, because we have several seniors that come in and either play on the computer or do work on the computer. That room would be about 625 square feet. A game activity room, this would be like the pool table, TVs, if we get like a foosball or anything like that. That would be about 1,600 square feet. health room, 144 square feet. We have a podiatrist that comes in, and it's not very pleasant to have the toenails all over the
As
place.
disgusting.
It's really disgusting.
In the lunchroom, right?
Yeah, right now,
Oh, boy.
it's like a free-for-all. That room, we'd like about 144 square feet for that. We run a food pantry, 625 square feet, a kitchen and break room, 225 square feet, a conference room of 400 square feet, and an unshared conference room, 400 square feet. That would probably be, like when we have board meetings, things like that. A kitchen, now the kitchen and the hall, we do a lot of luncheons. So we would want a kitchen about 625 square feet and a hall which would be 2,025 square feet. This whole bottom here is 1,750. And right now, we can only accommodate between 62 and 66 at the max. So 2025, it would probably squeeze another 30 or 40 in. Storage, temperature controlled. There are documents that need to be kept for many years. And it's not temperature controlled, it's decrepit. Storage for medical equipment. Medical equipment being possibly a gym, like weight room type of.
So wouldn't
thing.
that be the same as your health room?
No, that would be a very small room.
Okay.
A clothes closet, a general clothes closet, 100 square feet. Mechanical room, 400 square feet. A janitor's room, which would incorporate a washer and dryer, 600 square feet. Janitor's room would hold all the supplies that would be poisonous. Supply room for paper, etc., 225 square feet. A function room. This would have a printer, the big printer, a big copying machine. It would be mostly for our newsletter that's done every month. We have about 10 volunteers that are all over the place, folding and putting leaves. So this year we concentrate one area. That would be like about 625 square feet. And a shower room of 400 square feet. That being, this is also an emergency shelter. So in the event that it is used for emergency, people have no way of washing.
Do you have any grant money for that? No. No EMA money?
That's our wish list.
Okay. It's a wish list.
What was the total?
11?
11,701.
But we'd like about 13.
It's like 13.
Anticipating growth,
Well,
senior
the
growth
two,
down the
you go
line.
circulation space and all that stuff. It could be
Right.
30%, 40% more.
Right.
That could be.
Foot
Yeah,
area.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Of our life.
yeah.
Right now, we have, the town
That's great.
census says we have 8870 in town, of which 2517 is seniors, 28%. This town is seniors right now. But the baby boom is coming up, which is going to increase it big time. The town, the total town, we've got about 17 employees, which is about 522 people per employee that get service. While with the seniors, we have 2 employees, which is 1259 seniors per employee.
Yeah, no, just curious, the total square footage, that
Yes.
totals the 11,000?
Yes,
and some odd?
what I
Okay.
said, yes.
Okay, because you're probably gonna have to add 20-30% for circulation spaces and things like that, so that could
Walls
bump that
and stuff,
up to
yeah.
14,000-15,000 square feet
Yeah.
easy.
This is just the square footage.
Of the actual spaces,
Yeah.
right. So by the time you're done with corridor spaces and egress,
Yep.
stairways, things like that.
We would prefer a
Single level area,
level,
right.
which would be easier, because, if we have a second level,
Yeah,
we would need an elevator versus a chair width, because right now we have the chair, and a lot of seniors are having a problem with that because of the balance that they have. They can't judge sitting in the chair. We've had a couple of them that almost go down the stairs.
When
So
they
you're
be
probably
able to come
gonna
upstairs?
Excuse me?
When they be able to get in, come upstairs? Without the chair?
Well, if they wanna come, like, say they come in by upstairs, and they wanna come in, like, we have a meal, or they're playing bingo, or for whatever reason, most of them don't wanna go back outside, move their cars.
Yeah, especially if the weather's not good
Yeah.
and stuff, it's probably an inconvenience.
Okay, thank you. Library?
Just she hand that over to Natalie, so Ellie can get all the details, the written,
Do you have a copy of that?
yeah, there should be, I don't have, I can send a copy over. I mean, just to be accurate.
Just so we all have it.
Make sure. Yeah, okay.
The last time, I know that we just, maybe it wasn't the last time, maybe it was the time before, we discussed, grants. And Barbara said that there was, availability in grants. Have you guys looked into that anymore?
Well, that's the one that I told you that it would take a really long time to get that through. And right now, they don't have the time to sit there and go through all that paperwork. They can't finish what they're doing now. That's why we need an extra person
Right, and you're getting an extra person from
from the grant.
from a grant, right, so you now have another person in there, so I'm just wondering, will that free up any of your time or Barbara's time to work on some of the grant material? And if not,
Not really.
okay.
Because she's so bogged down, both urban roads right now are behind.
Well, it could be the difference between having a new senior center and not having a new
Yeah.
senior center. So I mean, it's a pretty big, even though it's a pretty big process,
Yeah.
it's gonna
I'm
lend
sure
itself to dollars
would-
that,
Yeah, that would be something that you'd have to talk directly
okay,
to her about timelines.
all right, I'll give her a call. Anybody have any questions? Carrie?
I just think it's important for each time people make reports to give in writing so that, we all, because we can't all hear
Yeah,
everything.
the previous reports, they didn't even have it down.
No, but that's, a lot of good
Yeah.
information, so we, if you,
Yeah, I can.
Yep, Ally will
look
put
at
this with the
Rita.
minutes, and then,
yeah.
she's still working on the minutes from the last meeting,
Right.
so once we have them all, we'll be able to compile everything together. Review them, make sure they're accurate, and then we can move on. Okay?
Okay, I don't have square footage tonight.
No, that's okay.
Okay. We would need, I can tell you the areas that we would need. We would need library director's office, staff office, circulation desk. Well, actually, it could end up being a single point service desk where people would check out books as well as ask their reference questions. A children's area, a young people's area, young adults, if you will. An area where there would be computers and/or workstations that people could sit at with their own laptops because there would be Wi-Fi throughout the library. A sitting or reading area. A couple of small study rooms, a large study room, a genealogical or history room, a meeting room, which this could be a room that would be used by the whole town. And when you have a meeting room like that, you build it in such a way that it can have access from the outside without going into the library for nighttime meetings.
We have, it's in the plan, it's in the thing that was distributed to everybody with the minutes. the plan of the library, the proposed plan of the library was in
Oh.
the minutes that went to everybody that they received a couple of days ago. So, you know, this has been.
So I guess
A
my,
lot of pages.
This was a lot of
and
pages.
it's been-
yeah, it's a lot of information,
Are
yeah.
you talking about the thing that Jack sent out?
Yes.
Okay, that was not the library program, that was a document about the owner's project
From the
manager.
state, right, well, partly from the
Needs
state.
assessment.
Yes,
Yes.
understood. I guess my question to the library planning committee, and I know that you came into the board, and asked us for, you know, to go forward with the project manager. So I guess my question is like, how do you feel you're gonna fit in with this committee? It feels like there's like duplicity.
Oh, you don't mean duplicity, you mean
Duplication.
duplication.
Duplication, sorry.
Which, when you spoke at the beginning of the meeting, raised questions in my mind too, because it sounded like, the intent was for this whole building committee to go forward with all of the buildings. That's what it sounded like to me.
No, I think we have to make, when this is all said and done, we need to make a decision on what we're gonna go forward with, and I think that that's pretty much, once we're done gathering all this information, pretty much where we're gonna go. Can some places be combined? Can we do a library COA? Can we do, you know, this and this? Can we do an attachment to the town hall with, you know, with, the old schoolhouse? Is the, you know, Jack brought up moving the library down to the old schoolhouse, so, like, these are all your wants and your needs and your wish list. Now it's time to, like, all right, let's get to the meat of this and what can we do? And then secondly, what can we afford? And if we go forward, it'll probably be a town meeting sometime in the summer, if we're done with all of this, to go for project management or to go for architectural and design. And will we do it piecemeal? Will people vote on just the library or just the police station or just the town hall? Or are we gonna combine everything and give them the best package that we can? So those are all decisions that all of us have to make.
Well, if we don't go forward with the state process for the library, it's like throwing away probably about at least $3 million, because the state is now paying for between 45% and 50% of the building cost for the town library. So we would be potentially getting a lot less for our town bucks in the guise of the library than we would if we, you know, if we don't follow the state process, we'll be getting less than we would otherwise.
Go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, I thought the whole idea, you know, this committee is we assessed all the needs of the community and all the buildings. We had this committee come, you know, this agency come, and so they assessed that these are all things that need improvements, and which is the library, the town offices, the police, council on aging. And then we as a group looked at what they presented, and we as a group said, no, we don't want a great big building with everything in it. But that didn't mean that we didn't want, you know, to see what we could do with the needs of all these different areas. And so I think we have to say what's available, what does she have available with what she has, you know, they've been working on this one, and what is available, what's feasible, and what's feasible with the police, what's feasible. And then we'll just prioritize, but that doesn't
Exactly.
mean, but we don't want to lose, you know, it's like when you have grant money and so forth, they're all needed, but where are we gonna, you know? So I mean, I think we're hearing from them. We heard from an outside agency tell us what our needs were. And they didn't interview everybody. And, you know, I think we're hearing from the people who are actually there now, which is important.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's astronomical for all of us, and just like when we need a school, and we really do have to look at that too, the amount of space that's not being used in our school. And we can best utilize that too, you know, a combination, but, you know,
Right,
I'd
we're
hate
gonna-
to see someone, you know, I'd hate to see someone think, you don't have a shot, you know, because.
Oh, I don't think that that's
Yeah,
what
you know.
anybody's saying,
No, I don't
and if
think
I
that-
did say that, if I came across like that, that's not what I mean. What I'm saying is almost the same thing what you're saying is, what's feasible? How can we combine things to make it the best that we can, so the town will approve what we need to do? Because you're right, the library, the COA, we're
They're
all
needed, yeah.
one. And we haven't paid attention to any of the buildings in a very long time. And now we have the money to do so, and we need to go forward, and borrowing is really at a great rate. So, I mean, but is the town ready to pay $15 million all up front? I'm not so sure.
No, I'm not so sure either. That's why, is there a vehicle to get some of this? And if there's a vehicle to get some of it,
Through the grant.
Or seniors,
And the
or
COA.
historic.
Mhm.
I'd like to add that just for 1 second, that for the library, the money that for the land that we own, that can be put toward our matching funds for the library. So not only, that's less money that we have to actually spend, because the state will consider that as part of the town's contribution to the library.
The value of the property
Yes.
that we're using?
Yes, and we do have a plan of a library plan. It doesn't have to be finalized, but maybe you should include that one piece of paper with we have a schematic of a library in the new document, the newest document. Isn't there a schematic of a library in the newest document that shows a floor plan and the kind of needs that we have, that we could put in the minutes?
You're gonna have to explain to me what document.
The document we've all been working on, that we've all been working on.
No,
in the
there
planning
isn't
committee.
any schematic.
I wish I had the plan. I believe there's something that we could show with an idea of what we would do.
One of the things that is of concern and is timely is that the state does not have construction grant monies at all times. It's been about 3 years since they had a construction grant round. Upcoming in the spring of 2017, next year, there will be a construction grant round. But if we don't have the preliminary work, which includes that owner's project manager to be hired, then we're not going to be able to apply during that grant round, and it could be another 2 or 3 years before there's another one. So I'm just,
But the board gave you permission to go forward with that.
yes,
Okay.
but we need Jack to go forward with hiring the owner's project manager. We can't do that.
So,
I was under
since
the
our
impression-
meeting, he hasn't done, all right, well, we'll follow through with that tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay.
because it's my understanding he's the chief procurement officer.
Yeah,
and
but
we
he
can't
should-
hire him.
I mean, we had a meeting, how long ago?
Did you already gave him all the information you
Yeah.
need for the RPS? So
He
he has to
hasn't
do it.
asked me any specific questions if he has any.
All right, so we'll have Ally follow up on that tomorrow.
That money that she's talking about, is it a grant that they have?
You can talk to her directly.
Is that a grant, a state grant? Now, if you don't use, say you apply for it, you get it, and you don't use it in 2017.
Oh, you don't need to use it in that same year.
Okay, so
You've got to-
it's in your account?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, it's like a regular grant.
Yes.
I have a question for you. Would the state allow a library to be built as part of another complex, or is the grant money only available for a standalone library?
No, the library could be built as part of, like a two-function building. But the money that the state gives us could only be used for the library portion of it.
Well, that's good to know, because if that works out, and we talk to Barbara tomorrow, and that's available, I think I don't know how everybody feels about it, but I think we did talk about how a joint building between library and COA would be really kind of an awesome thing. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, if that's,
Yeah.
The only concern that I personally have about that is, prior to many years ago, the library planning committee did visit a library that had that kind of situation where they were adjacent to, in the same building as a senior center. And the problem that they had is that people in the senior center kept leaving the stove on at nighttime, sometimes with food still cooking, and they had a serious danger of fire. So that's the only concern I
We
have.
have a policy that our seniors can't use a cook stove. If we have a new building, there will not be a cook stove in it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, well, Charlie still have one.
Oh, sorry.
But, my other thing, I think, if we have, say like the library, and we were to join it, constantly, hypothetically, it could be anything. We just
Right,
use it
could be
that way.
anything, yep.
So obviously, they're gonna subtract that and just pay for the library part, correct?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, if that were the case, then I would put more of the size and the rooms in the library. That would be, which would be part of the library.
Joint
Right.
function areas. That's part of the library, but it can be used by other departments, or
I'm sure they have guidelines.
You know what I mean? It's not about
They probably have some guidelines
But
based on.
you know what I mean?
it's like the meeting room, for example, you're talking about.
You know.
If that was big enough that
Yeah.
maybe it also
Community,
fit
but
on
that was
another
very-
They may
need.
have some specific
Well, that's what she-
guidelines,
you get it
some people
bigger.
don't specifically
Or-
think
You can take it from the library side.
for either or, you know.
But especially if they're one building that was
Exactly.
joining
They
in the
may
building,
have that guideline.
that's part of the library, but it's
space,
joint
but
use.
Yes.
you can't commingle the spaces. and,
But
You wouldn't know.
You
they
put
know
more,
if
you
you're
put more
probably
weight on
paying
the
for
library
that.
side too.
You know, in those
Space.
funds.
Well, they
Because
allow
matching
that.
fund.
Yeah, that's.
The design would have
Yes.
have
Yes.
to, you know, be justified.
I think that
Yeah.
can be done, that's not.
Well, again, we go over the guidelines.
It's like your meeting room.
Hold on, guys.
That could be a joint use.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Do you know, like, how much money is allocated to each type of project that's going on?
We have a,
And the size of the project of each of these spaces? We generally know how big this space is for the COA, how much the library needs to be, police station, fire department.
from,
That's gonna kind of determine how much you
From
could
the
actually
feasi-
do.
from the feasibility study.
We do have that?
Yeah,
Okay.
However,
I'd be curious to know what
I'm
that is.
sorry, the,
but the feasibility
We get
study,
a copy
yeah,
from
you'd have
them.
to,
Okay.
didn't really necessarily, like Mary was saying before, talk to everybody and get everything in there that
Right.
everybody wanted, so.
yeah, the space
Yeah.
for the library in that study.
Yeah, at this stage, it's really generalizations
Not adequate.
anyway. Someone's gonna take, a library is so many square feet, they generally know how much a library is. It's gonna be X amount of dollars a square foot, and you know you could build 10,000 square feet. Same thing with a, COA, you're gonna get a generalization of how much a square foot that's gonna be. And that's gonna tell you about how much you could actually build with the money you have. So-
On the feasibility study, they came up with 8,564 square feet. A lot of the spaces were small, like the bathrooms were small.
Right.
The area where we could have meals and kitchen, that was a lot smaller than what we require right now. So I mean, we're pretty close to what their figure was.
Well, it's double. It's almost double.
Oh,
Because you get
11,000,
circulation spaces, by the
yeah.
time you're done adding, it's about 15,000
I
square
think
feet.
I think everybody's pretty much giving what they feel they need.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay, and.
it's like budget season.
Right.
Yeah, well, you know, I can appreciate that, but I mean,
It's
if you're
Christmas.
asked somebody else, you're not going. But
Absolutely.
realistically, if you listen to all that's needed, there's no way that you're gonna build all these buildings that meet those needs without bringing a couple of these buildings together.
All structures.
Or 2 or 3 of them together. It may not be one building for everyone,
Right.
but we're gonna have to combine certain.
And I think that,
But the other thing is who's money.
let's go back and talk about this a little bit, because I think we took a general consensus before, and I just want to make sure that we're still on the same page, or maybe people have changed their minds and we should be more open to it. But are we all in agreement, or, I'll just say it this, is everybody for one building?
No.
Okay, so everybody here is against the one building, okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure, just want to throw it out there, because,
Just not a medium size.
Okay. The one department that we really haven't heard from, and they're not necessarily a department, but is the historical commission. And I mean, we spent some money on an old schoolhouse, so I'm just.
First time in 50 years.
I know, but hey,
wanna
it's a
stress
step.
50
So I
years of the
just,
whole-
I don't really wanna see that building and after the money that we invested in it, see it go away just like the matching funds. So I just wanted to hear from you and make sure that
Well,
your
I
voices
think,
were heard.
you know, the first, you know, at the first meeting when we, after we reviewed the feasibility study, we then, you know, really kind of took a consensus of what we wanted to do. And one was not to have a gigantic building with police and senior citizens and so forth all together. And we talked about the, and I think Paul said it, talked about the historic buildings, and we own them, and they're there. And if we don't use them, we have to upgrade them to sell them. So if we're going to upgrade and spend that money, let's utilize them. But in their plan, they had planned to take part of the schoolhouse, the library. And that really was not giving the town hall any extra room. You know, and so it would be very difficult to really upgrade it. The schoolhouse connected, and I think it's been 25, 30 years we've been talking about this. We have visited Little Compton because that's something that they did. They connected two buildings and utilized the space. And there is space. Now, we have spent money. We have, because the roof was leaking for many, many years, we had to put new trusses, you know, really redo the roof, and not just what you see on the outside, but inside and rebuild. We had to also rebuild, you jump in anytime, Paul, some of the supports and, you know, around the foundation, the stairs, re-support the cupola, and a lot of supportive work, you know, went into it. So structurally, a shell is, it's a shell, that's pretty good. And really going in the second floor, you know, looking at the levels, you know, it certainly could happen. And the architect that we had with the grant did a, you know, a schematic sketch of how we combined it, and really the elevator and everything would be in the addition. And you could have offices along there, or you could have restrooms, which if the restrooms were there, the conference room could be used in the schoolhouse, and the town hall would be close, you know, close to people. And that was one of the ideas. So it would, you know, I think we own those buildings, they are a part of our town's history, and of course, I would advocate for that, but, you know, I'm working with the committee, so it's what's best for the town. But there'd have to be, you know, there's a lot of upgrades that would have to be done. If you visit other communities where they have done this, for instance, in Mattapoisett, they did it with an old building in their library, and they utilized the basement. And part of the basement can be utilized at the schoolhouse, and there's nobody in this room who's old enough to, not even me, Gary. Sorry, Stacy, that I didn't attend, but my brothers did, and a lot of other people did in town. And in the basement, it was pre-primary, and also when they had medical clinics, they would have them there, and music room and so. So it's gone by the wayside many, many years, but there are possibilities. You just have to, you know, visualize what you can do. But so anyway, that was what our thought was. And that's why we want to save the schoolhouse because it's 1794 and the oldest of all the buildings. But we wanted to save it to be used, not just to save it because it's historic, but to make it useful.
Okay, so what would be the pros of having the old schoolhouse and renovate the town hall attached? What would be, what are the pros from the committee? What do you see as a pro?
Additional space, you could put in an elevator, so.
It'd be
that
ADA
people-
compliant.
Yeah,
You'd have bathrooms that are ADA
And
compliant,
you would
Yeah.
have a conference room for meetings, not meeting in a town hall.
or here.
Yeah, and storage, which is really
You
needed,
get
especially.
matching grants.
Huh?
And there's matching grants.
Yeah, we can get, the other thing is availability for the historic portion of that, and certainly on the exterior. So that's a possibility, and we've gotten a couple of, you know, several grants through the years. The fact that it's on the National Register, in order to apply for any grant, that's the first question on the grant.
Right, so I think that that's a positive, right? Like, we have a positive from having the town hall attached to this old schoolhouse, with grant availability. We have the library with grant availability. I'll talk to Barbara tomorrow about the COA, maybe the COA and the town, the library have grant availability to combine some of those spaces together. So I think that that's, yeah, like you said, Paul, now we're combining buildings that will lessen the price tag as we move forward. Thoughts?
No, it makes sense when you can combine it.
Lisa, this is, I'm sorry, this is a list of the areas that the library needs. Go
Okay.
ahead. I'm sorry. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. No, that's fine.
If I may, Madam Chairman.
Yes, you absolutely may, Mr. Sullivan.
All right. One of the things that I always think about is, when you're going to build a new building, what are you going to do with the old building? And you see all around where buildings are abandoned, or there's all kinds of controversy. And that is one, I think, positive about renovating the town hall. There are some obstacles, people complain about parking and so forth. There are, I think, doable alternatives or additions to parking in the area. I'm thinking that if they do a library, if you somehow moved the old Hathaway Library, did something to that, I think I kind of thinking out of the box, but
Yeah.
you're gonna have an area there. You have an area between the telephone company structure and Lynn's house, no. Okay. When you look at the telephone company, that's obsolete as it is, and, probably within a few years, I'll end up abandoning it anyways. But I think that there's,
Maybe
we
even
should-
Weaver's property too,
right,
that little,
I think at this time, to abandon the idea of renovating town hall, I think would be bad. It might be that we can't do it, but I think that's one of the things where
I think-
you could.
I think we can be creative with working on parking space. I know that's something that concerns Jackie, but I think there's some possibilities that we could do. We're not talking about a town meeting being held there. We're talking maybe about 30 parking places maybe that we need, I would say, during the day. I'm there a lot in the parking lot, so I say with the window boxes, so I see it coming and going. And in the summer, it hasn't been a mob scene. I know also in front of the
The
telephone.
worst time is when taxes are due and stuff, that people come in and they have to wait till
Right.
this.
And early voting. When we
Well,
have
that'll be
ear-
coming up too.
Yeah, the early voting.
But, there is parking on North Main Street, and it's wide up by the church, all in front of there, there's parking right along there, that's an extra wide, because they made the sidewalk was wide years ago. Some people used to drive down it in the cars, but that's how wide it was, and so they reduced it. And I think there's a possibility of an agreement with the church and utilizing the parking lot during daytimes and making some sort of an arrangement there, because there's parking in the church lot. There's parking in front of the bandstand.
Sewer line would be a big thing too.
Yeah.
We'd have to get that extended.
But there are, we take pride in our town and the historic aspect of it, and it's one of the oldest, towns in Bristol County. And when we had, a preservationist come through the town, when we were working on the first grant, to do nominations for the National Register, they were amazed at the number of historic structures, and that's walls and, that we had over 200 in Freetown. And so that's a big plus, and they were very, very complimentary. And I think when townspeople hear it from someone outside, it's really makes a big difference. So there are a lot of important buildings. We're on both ends.
even though we're not tied to the company that came in, I really did like the way it looked, the facade on the outside and having the addition on the back. I think it looked really nice, so I thought it was a positive thing, and I agree with Mr. Sullivan. I don't like to abandoned buildings, because then we don't really take care of them, because we just forget about them.
And it sends a message to children. I think sometimes when you do abandon buildings and, we can move forward in the future with what we've learned in the past, and it also teaches them about the value of these buildings.
I just want to make sure that, and I know that this committee will ensure that that happens, that the inside gets taken care of, because it's not only about the outside, it's about the inside. So I really want to make sure that whatever we do, whichever route we go, that the inside of the building looks new, that it's not, like, we're not walking into just painted walls, that everything in there is new, and they can probably take down stuff and reuse stuff, and I'm sure that they can do a lot of things.
Oh, they can, and
If
that's why it's
we
important to
do-
visit other, we went, Paul, and I, and a couple of others, went to Middleborough's town hall, and that's massive compared to ours. But what they did there is beautiful, it's really beautiful. And they retained the historic integrity of the building while updating it and making it handicap accessible and space for the needs of people. So it's really, really beautiful. And that includes everything, the windows, and I visited one on Martha's Vineyard in Edgartown too. If I'm out, and I see a town hall open, and I always try to get inside and see what they've done. When we did the upstairs, when the town did the upstairs of the town hall, that was a great big meeting hall with a stage and so forth. And we didn't have a lot of money, and so, what was put up and how it was divided and so forth might be different today. But
I
it
think
gave us
everything-
more space.
Everything's gonna have to be brought up to the standards and the codes, so I think
Yeah,
everything
absolutely.
inside is gonna have to be, our electrical,
Versus the value of the property.
Well, I
you have
kind
to
of
bring
think-
everything
the
up to
electricity, the
Everything.
plumbing,
Well, yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
everything is, but
code.
I
it's
sort of
30 or
think,
40% of value of the property, once you exceed that cost, you have to upgrade
if
everything.
if we ever come to this, that we'd start with the schoolhouse first and upgrade that, and then be able to move people in the town hall, while the town hall was worked on. Because you'll have to have, if this does come to be,
You're gonna have to
people in the
move
town hall will have to have a place to work.
Yeah, we talked about maybe moving them over to the elementary school too, so that's a possibility also, so that, good.
But I think it's really exciting to think about it as a possibility.
It is exciting,
And that we're going to move ahead, and I think as much, as I love the Hathaway Library building, we are not providing residents with what other towns have.
No, not anymore.
And for many years, and yet people are very loyal to the libraries and utilize them. And if you're out there and you see the number of people that walk or drive, and there's use for that, maybe for archives as was mentioned. And
With the library, if it's in the old schoolhouse, would that be the only library that we would have?
Oh, no, we're not gonna, I don't think anybody
There's
said.
not enough room in the schoolhouse for the library and the town hall,
No,
really.
No.
They will not gain space in the
No.
town hall.
no, I think that, and I really, East Freetown will not go into a Sonnet to go to the library.
No.
It's,
It
not that
wouldn't
they
be big
won't, I
enough.
just
It
mean
isn't
it's
big
too
enough,
far,
yeah.
right? Don't you feel it's too
They complain
far?
when they gotta come to the town hall all the
Right.
time. They say they gotta go way over to the other side of town.
Well,
Do it
Sonnet won't go to
online.
Freetown.
And a Sonnet won't go to Freetown either.
You have
just
the
process.
school,
The
We
big
have to-
divide.
the police,
Yeah.
senior center.
Wait, let's take a poll, how many on East Freetown side, no, just kidding. But
I'm the
it's,
precinct, I'm the precinct 3 community representative, and I say, I'm not saying anything about this. I think the idea that's been brought up is really good, but putting the town hall in the center of town has some appeal as a bringing the town together. We need to, what we're saying now is we're going to put a lot more stuff in the center of town, and that's a good thing.
I agree.
If we don't have to put the town hall in the center of town. When I moved to town, one of the first things people said was the Sonnet is the capital of Freetown. But, and
This
and I-
is the center of town, right?
Yes, this is the
It
center
is,
of town.
but I-
This is where we need to
Yeah.
put more services, but if,
Yeah.
Well, majority of things are here.
it's great.
The fire and the police,
Yes.
and the seniors, so that is in the school.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is better utilize a historic building, for
Absolutely.
something like
No,
that.
I think, and I think the more things that are available online, and the more we do online, I think the less foot traffic you'll
That's true.
eventually see at Town Hall.
What was the lands that were
25
out
years.
for the library, that's what I was wondering, what was the land for the library?
The land, you mean?
Land that you have available for the
Oh,
library?
on the other corner over here. at,
Jason Memorial, corner of Jason Memorial.
Yes, opposite the
Helicopter,
helicopter
okay.
there, and,
But that was the
And
town property that was
potentially
supposed to
over
be
here.
for city hall, for the town hall and everything, right? That's what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
It wasn't just
It's
a
town-owned,
little-
it's town-owned, it's big, really
Yeah,
big.
no, but that's what I'm saying, that's the piece of property.
Yeah.
How many acres is there?
I'm not sure
Do you know,
totally.
I had, same board,
Library on the town register.
the school,
Historic
the
register.
school.
Is the Guilford Library,
Which I
property?
believe,
Freetown Elementary School.
right, which I
Yep.
believe basically from Chase Road.
The other one we don't own,
to
yeah.
Bullock
No,
Road.
The White Library.
That is
That's-
That'll get turned
that's-
over
Now
when
that
we.
takes up the school
All the
also.
town historic buildings are in the national.
And then I believe that,
Not the
police
James White-
station.
That back, not the
Not the James White Library, right?
5 acres.
Five.
I think
That's something
that
else on the
that
register,
takes,
so you can have private, you can have private.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Edward Street, Washburn, can I
Yeah.
talk to you?
Mhm.
Right to
I do want
East
to
Town.
and I don't
And-
remember.
oh, I think
When I scan it to you.
There-
Three here on Seymour.
Yeah,
Mm.
but then,
So many
of course,
people.
there's land over towards the fire station too. So I think it was, the whole complex here is around 80 acres. if I
80.
remember. Come, give or take a few.
Can we talk a little bit about police, because I feel like we've left them out, because they were way at the beginning, and then we haven't talked about them lately.
Well, Sweet did that last meeting, didn't he?
First meeting, they
Yeah.
gave us, they gave us everything. the
Right, we
first
haven't heard
day.
from them in a while, so I figured we might as well give them some floor time right now.
Go, Ben.
Well, I mean, I was looking at the minutes of the last meeting, I wasn't here, but I know Sergeant Magna went over some other stuff again.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you think there's any value in keeping, I know we don't want to get rid of buildings, but do you think there's any value in that building, or do you think a brand-new building is possibly the way to go?
I know that money's been put into it recently. It always seemed to us, I mean, it's lipstick on a pig. The building, like, the architectural design of the building is flawed. Hence, anything you do to it from there is based on a poor foundation. If, like I said, you can't even insulate the walls of the building. It's, the cold comes through. It's brick. I mean, it's always been, it's,
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Sullivan.
I'm gonna say, I've asked a couple of guys, I've asked a couple of people who friendly with, who contractors, who have worked in the buildings, and people, and I should have, I was working on this, and if somebody wants me to tell you why you wanna knock that building down, okay? I know people say, well, we could use it for something, but people, you built the building for less than $250,000, almost 40 years ago. So you got your money out of it, okay? It has no basement. I'll get on the pedestal here. It has no basement, flawed. It's taking land area that was usable. They didn't put a basement in it. There's no basement there. The heating system has been replaced 3 times in 35 years. They're on their third boiler system. One of the reasons is because you had to pump fuel from an underground tank up to an attic spot. Gravity, yeah, it just, gravity to take those boilers out and put it, and use the building. Might think, okay, you could put it where the cell block is. Well, then you have to tear out the cell block. How much money is that gonna be? It's gonna be.
Is the space big enough to tear everything down and put a new building there?
Well, I suppose you
I don't know
probably-
if the space-
Yeah, well, like I said, I talked to the planning board, and they say there's 5 acres on that lot. Now, I think part of that is the Memorial
Yeah.
Park also now. But, I'm just reading the assessment, they say about 10,000 square feet for a police station. Now,
No, it's fine.
but I think really,
What do
you have 3,000 square feet, folks.
So
Okay,
that's
that's the average,
Palace.
that's the average, house. Well, I think the average house is
That's all one
3,000.
floor too, that building's just one
Right,
floor.
yeah,
right.
So, yeah.
And
Multi-floor.
I was,
Yeah, they're looking for.
just reflecting on things is, if you could go across the street, and build the police station basically across from where the Memorial Drive, driveway is, then you're going to be able to make a ground floor. If you had a ground floor, you could have your, in theory, you could have your Sally Port there, you could have your, any type of prisoner, area in that ground floor. It's you're not gonna have any issues with people hearing prisoners, or like walking in from the outside with directions or anything like that. You could probably build a police station there with a floor plan less than, we'll say 10,000, because what, I've heard the Acushnet, police just built a police station, the last couple of years. I think that was within, 12,000 to 14,000.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because the other side of the coin, besides these buildings, is I can see everybody looking for the same corner kind of thing. That's the reason why.
Yeah. That was the corner lot.
It's a big piece of
I
property.
understand, but I can see everybody wanting the same together. That's the reason I'm saying.
But if they're gonna knock down the police station, what are they gonna do with the COA? That could be either the COA and library, or it could be the police station, the whole area.
Yeah, they're gonna knock.
So
They
that
said-
would be a big,
When I-
big
And
drum.
this building could be for
I just-
water
I
and.
was really, I was I actually asked the question. I really
That's
think
true.
it's
If they weren't
So
gonna
kept
use
it-
this building, you know
Oh, yeah,
what I
school
mean?
property.
So,
Yeah.
Which is with the school.
so knock it
Well,
down.
With the schools is
It's
88.
Well, it's 50 acres.
Well, we were
Yeah.
talking like water and sewer and
So
conservation.
that's from Chase Road to Bullock Road.
All right, so actually, everybody in agreement that a new police station is the way to go? Yeah. Good.
Where's your grant?
Yeah. All our grants for the body cameras, so.
Yes, that's more important,
Um,
okay.
Well, is there any seniors who have history of grant writing that could be willing to, say, for a small compensation or whatever?
Well, I'm thinking that, we have help in the office, in the selectman's office, so not taken away from Ally, but after the 20 hours, if we could have Tim spend some time on helping to write a grant and getting together with Barbara.
Someone just finished a course.
Who?
Someone just finished a course in town.
Somebody just did, I can't remember who it is,
Yeah.
but, and Chandler's around too, so we have two capable bodies, in town hall that can probably sit down and, I mean, they're smart guys, they can sit down and probably whip that up, there's probably no problem with that. But it's a time and to sit down with Barbara and get that done. To take some of it off of Barbara, but again, it's got a big value to it, right? So 5, 10, 15 hours, 20 hours, no matter how long, it's got a big value to it, and it's gonna take us a long way, so I really think that that's money well spent.
Madam Chair.
Yes, darling. I
easy
mean,
now.
Mr. Joe's.
Currently, we sit on 5.3 acres, the police station sits on 5.8 acres, and the piece of property that you're looking at is, I went to the assessors map, and so I'm kind of down here on my own quietly. And as soon as it loads, I'll let you know. 50 acres, that includes, like Charlie said, the elementary school.
Elementary school.
Oh. Is there room near the police station? Do we have room there?
You?
Not the police station, the fire station for the police station.
The fire station, that's a good question.
Is there room to put?
Is that for sale?
There's land for sale there too.
That's being sold by the church, right? Isn't it the
Yeah.
archdiocese?
How much land
No,
is for
I don't know, I wanna
Yeah.
look into
Yeah,
that.
is it?
Yeah.
Didn't Jack look
It's
into
owned by
it, it was
the
already under
church
agreement?
for,
Jack never said anything.
Because I asked at the
Yeah,
last
police
meeting. I
go to
thought
jail.
that's
Like,
what
many
it said.
communities, I think they said that, you know, and
They gave us the last one.
The
But it'd be nice to be next door.
athletic
before it's
facility
out.
is 17 acres.
It's
And there's
supposed to
space
get the right
between the buildings,
refusal. Yeah, we haven't gotten
between
that yet,
the
so.
building
All
and the
right,
field.
that's the other thing we'll look at tomorrow, because I think
It's
that
not a
that,
separate
we have
lot.
money
I know,
in capital
King of the Hill, I
stabilization,
know.
we could
When we
purchase
get there
that.
first.
And
So
then,
that's 17.
huh? It's wetter, but I mean,
how much
Yeah.
we should send it, actually, we should
Doesn't
send
give
it
me
to the Board of
feet,
Health down
space.
there to do a perk
This,
test
so
on it,
I can show
see
you.
if it'll perk.
Where it says 29, that gray building, that's the fire station currently.
Well, 99, we get to work.
And now, see the distance between there and the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
I know,
The rest of that
absolutely. I think
surrounding
that-
is a baseball field, not the field, property they own.
They should have all the
All right, so we got a couple of things going on. I think that we've come to sort of some consensus here, and we can pick, do some more at the next meeting, and I don't care if we sit here all night and talk, I don't, but it's up to you guys. We have some consensus, and feel free to chatter. I think we are basically all in agreement that a new police station is vital. I think that we're pretty much in agreement, and we might have some more comments to make about the existing town hall combined with the old schoolhouse and looking to preserve both of those buildings and upgrades and renovations into that. We definitely need to look into the sewer line, because I'm not sure we can do that without the sewer line, but that's something that we have to get an answer to. You getting this, Ally? Okay. We need to check with Jack, because supposedly he checked into the land for sale on the side of the fire station. So we should really look into that, because we have money in the capital stabilization to do something like that, and maybe even send Kevin over to do a couple of perks, if they'll allow us to do that, to see if it's perkable. And we are gonna help Barbara with the grant for this COA, and looking at combining the COA and the library. Is that about it?
One other thing, across the street from the fire station is, used to be a Cushing Sawmill property.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been donating a lot of property to DCR as of late. So that might be something that they might wanna turn something over to us
Before it
on.
becomes a solar
It's
field?
really smart to have the police and fire close together. I mean, as far as communication, like,
How does,
utilizing people.
but does that, I don't know how, I'm just gonna ask as an outsider, like, if they're directly across the street from one another and they're emergency vehicles, is that like not a good thing?
I don't think it makes a whole hell of a lot of difference, to be quite
Okay.
honest with you. Like, a lot of times, we're not even coming from the station. And except for one time, I've been able to avoid the ambulance for the most part.
I didn't know how, like, if you're
Let's get
both
the right of
leaving
way.
for an emergency at the same time.
I mean, we run into that now, simply, if I'm going from the station down Chase Road to a Sonnet, and the ambulance is coming down Bullock Road to a Sonnet, that's just dangerous as anything. We both when I hit the stop sign, and they're coming down the side right there. So it's just a fact of life for us. I
Okay.
don't think that makes much of a difference.
Is it better
one
to
way or the other.
avoid something like that, maybe
I don't think-
offset it a little or
I don't think
whatever?
it'll make that much
Okay.
difference.
Maybe the
Does-
driveways, so they're not like down at the South Main Street with all the stores driveways
Well,
across.
yeah, so they've got coming out of there, they're never gonna have more than 2 or 3 vehicles coming out of there at a time, so
Right, so
you should be able to.
But I think,
Enough guys.
Paul?
Would it make sense to try,
Yeah.
other things, try to figure out not only combining, but how many buildings we would have after we combine, number one, and number two, exactly what land is available, or possibility.
I think that's really good for us to find out
You
too.
know, 'cause
Yeah, so the
otherwise-
so we'll have those available at the next meeting, we'll look into it, and
And if we could have plot
maybe a
plans
big
for all
plot
this to look
plan.
at, yeah, even,
Yeah, big
Visual.
plot plan, and we
Yeah.
can be able to
You know.
figure out what goes, not what goes
They
where,
make
but
better
narrow
sense
it
for
down.
certain areas, the police
Right.
or whatever, to
Right.
be here, rather
And
than there. You know what I'm
Is
saying?
knocking down the building, is knocking down the police station the way to go and open up another, land area for something in the future? Should we save this building, if we're gonna combine the other 2 buildings, should we save this building for maybe water and sewer? Or, so those are things that we should probably look at the next meeting. All right?
Sounds like we're talking 3 buildings. Get me
That's
a-
what, that's what I'm.
Town hall renovation with the schoolhouse combined,
Mhm.
police station and library COA, a big library COA combined.
And I think that people, when they see like us, that we have really narrowed it down to 3 buildings, and if we can do it where we're using grant money and this and that, I think people are gonna see like, wow, they're really fiscally conservative, they're doing the right thing, and hopefully the dollars will tell.
And land-wise, we're looking at 3 pieces of property, possibly if we can get 2 on one piece of property. But
Right, and
that's
how
kind
much
of what
money we're saving
Actually, 2
from-
pieces, because we already
Right.
have the town
Right.
hall, so we're only looking for 2 pieces of property that'd be suitable for
Well,
our,
it's because people before us luckily did court
Years ago,
town and planned for this, and so, and we have to plan for this, and land keeps disappearing, and that's something we haven't been advocates to, when there's available land. I mean, and that we come up against things.
Cause there was never any money, and now I feel like
we just accepted some land that was donated to the town at the last meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had been,
So-
but the town hasn't been accepting it even when people have bought it,
Correct.
and that's, so it's changed, we need almost like preservation so that, or land
Yeah.
trust.
I agree. So, anybody have any other comments? Or, go ahead,
It's
Lucille.
not a comment. When I interrupted Tony, I just want to make sure that,
Oh,
that
okay.
he,
No, that's okay.
did you have anything?
No.
Because that was very rude. of me.
No, don't worry about it. Oh, he's new here, so I get thick skin. Don't worry.
Oh, that's not nice.
All right, the last thing I want everybody, I'm just gonna ask, if there's any buildings that, first of all, if anybody wants to go on a field trip to look at buildings, that's something that we should really take into consideration. And, what buildings per se would you like, so that we can, put that together and do a road trip? Because I know there's nothing more important than Charlie and I spending more time together, right?
Right.
And I think, and then we come to a point where if anyone wants to visit buildings that have been rehabbed.
Exactly.
I think if you have any documentation too about, like, with any plans, even if they're old plans of the building, and you get an idea of spaces and what you're working with
Well,
help
they,
too, so.
they did some plans up there on the assessment of
Yeah.
what the buildings actually
So
were.
we have those up at town hall.
So we can look at those.
So let's bring those to the next meeting, and we'll review those again, and,
And the big charts.
yep, and let's bring the, plot plans out, and then we can review those, and then we'll have a better direction on where we're going, but I think we got a lot done tonight.
Yes, Trace, would you want us to, there's a lot of new police stations.
That's on.
Yes.
Yeah,
we
Swede
are-
said,
Yeah,
Swede
right.
said us.
Right, but there's a lot of new police stations, and there's a number in the planning. Lakeville is now planning for a new police station.
Yeah, you can give it to Lauren.
But
I
they're
think
doing
next
a
meeting.
pod, right, like a,
Well,
Next Tuesday.
not a pod, but
I think that plan is somewhat fluid.
Because this is
well,
Decided
yeah,
going down
well, I
one
mean,
road and
I
pushing it.
know what they, now they wanna
It's on
build it
Providence
on,
City.
Next
Ted Williams camp.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
okay.
sliding right down this.
I'd rather
But-
see some buildings that are already finished.
Right,
Yeah.
well, what I'm saying, Acushnet is,
I know, this building is connected to.
Whit-
about a year old. I think Whitman was on there. Whitman is a little bit bigger, but a town population.
Yep.
But
There's a whole bunch of stuff.
There's, yeah.
All right, so why don't we
do like
like communities, yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
communities
Right.
and like
Yeah.
buildings,
Communities.
yeah, and I would say anywhere
Yeah,
from 3 to
some-
5 would be
sometimes-
more than
sometimes
enough,
it's very
and same thing,
difficult.
we should look at town halls and COAs and libraries and do the same thing.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
actually been kind of working out online as far as getting plans for buildings and like layouts and stuff too, so actually been.
Yeah, I did
I'm
too.
finding meeting minutes for other
Hanson, I
building
think,
committees.
Hanson had a nice one.
Hanson has one,
Oh.
Duxbury has one.
Yeah, Duxbury
Oakland's
has
had
one,
one.
we're not
There's a whole
Duxbury,
bunch
but
of
it's
them.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
But if we could do it like sort of, like, whoever wants to go can go. If we wanna do 1 day or 2 days, it doesn't matter to me, but if we could kinda do like something close, if they were all close, that we could do them all in 1 day, that would be awesome.
So define close, and I
Well, I
don't,
don't-
I don't mean it to be.
I don't wanna go like from
Town is far.
here and then 50 miles there.
No,
Plymouth to Seacon.
Yeah, no, okay,
Remember,
no,
you.
Right, that's what I mean.
was to work.
I think if you saw 2 a day, it'd be realistic.
yeah,
Because you're gonna get there,
Flooding.
you're gonna talk with someone, you're
Yeah.
not gonna just walk in and walk out.
Yeah,
So
flood.
There's gonna be time getting there, discussing with someone, then leaving. I'd say if you could see 2.
Well, I'll have them bring 3 to 5 forward, and we'll the committee will narrow it down to the 2 or the 3 that we wanna
Yeah.
see, and then we'll go from there. All right? All right, do I have a, yeah, let's schedule a new meeting. I know, I'm sorry. You guys wanna get this done?
I'm calling you, Julie.
Fourth
I
of July,
think we came a long way tonight.
Oh, I don't have any problem.
Alright.
That's weird.
Go ahead.
I'm just looking, just trying to figure out how to work my phone again.
It doesn't matter to me.
Ireland and Scotland. Yeah.
This is just, documentation from the, Space Needs, everything written down, on some of the stuff, so.
No, because she didn't finish the minutes, she said from the last one.
Yeah, she did.
Do those. That's the,
No,
the
you
needs
did it next time,
assessment,
didn't you?
when we did the wish list at the town hall, and we took notes, everything, that's what that is, so they'll know the needs of the town hall. Or some of those two.
Oh, but you don't have a.
Definitely don't wanna do the 4th of July week.
Yeah.
Okay, so 13th, July 13th?
What day of
It's
the
a
week?
Wednesday.
Oh, you
no,
know what,
Wednesday.
that's the week of, there's two meetings that week, let's see, planning board and the conservation on King Philip's, cave situation, I think, I don't know if it's 11th and 12th, but the 12th is gonna be,
It's the 11th and 12th.
Conservation.
it's 11th and 12th?
Oh, the 11th is Board of Selectmen, but usually conservation's on the 11th, on the Monday too.
On Monday, is it this year?
It doesn't matter to me.
I know the planning board's on the 12th,
On the 12th?
So there's conservation and planning that,
that week.
That's
Okay,
field
so
day.
that's all right.
Bastille
I mean,
Day's the 14th.
well, there's 3 nights.
That's kind of.
13th, yeah.
Probably get one.
Usually don't know.
The 12th, okay, the 13th.
13th,
I do now.
13th is.
Yes.
13th is good for me.
Thank you.
13th?
13th is good.
Six
All right.
PM, 6 PM on the 13th.
6:30?
I might be, I'm going to Europe on the second, so
Ooh.
You won't be back
Or
in
you can
13th?
come back and tell us about your
I
vacation.
won't be back by then. No, and it's just 10, 12 days, so good.
Look at town halls, you could write it off as a business expense.
There you
I
go.
think for everybody on this board.
500.
Because I had to go back to
Yeah,
the
right.
venue.
Yeah, that's
Go
right.
to town hall.
I'll fly you over the Buddy Holly Express, I'll fly you over.
Buddy Holly.
That's rough. Too soon? 70 years too soon? Lisa, are we
13th, yes.
6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.